Hello and welcome to this session of Careers Beyond Academia, hosted by the Stem Cell Network and Medicine by Design. My name is Ellie Arnold, and I'm the training specialist at Stem Cell Network. We're thrilled to be co-hosting this series with Medicine by Design. Our goal is to expose as many trainees as possible to different careers that are available after a degree in the life sciences, and to start to understand the qualifications and experience necessary to secure those types of roles. Stem Cell Network and Medicine by Design have teamed up to host this series, which has already highlighted a wide variety of careers available after their degree in the life sciences over the past few years. You can see past Beyond Academia recordings on Stem Cell Network's YouTube, and we have new sessions coming out throughout the year. Our next one is in March, so make sure you sign up for that one as well. Today, we're excited to have two speakers who will tell us about their careers in clinical research. Stem Cell Network also offers other training events, so check out our websites and social media for the other opportunities the Stem Cell Network and Medicine by Design offer throughout the year, which includes workshops, seminars, symposiums, and conferences. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletters to be notified of upcoming opportunities. The links to the sign up are provided on our websites. I just have a couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. The session is recorded, and the two speakers will each speak for about 10 to 12 minutes. And then after the two talks have concluded, we'll turn off the recording and we'll go into an open Q&A session, which I welcome the attendees to put questions in, and then we'll address as many as possible during the second part of the webinar. So with that, I'd like to introduce our first speaker for today's session, Sonam Dubey. Sonam is a neuroscientist and program leader with over 17 years of experience across clinical research, academic program development, and interdisciplinary healthcare innovation. She currently serves as project manager for the Azrieli Brain Medicine Program at Sunnybrook Health Sciences Centre and the University of Toronto. Dr. Dubey previously held roles at the University of Toronto's Medicine by Design before they moved to CCRM, and Sunnybrook Research Institute, where she managed regenerative medicine research and clinical trials, respectively. So, Sonam, please go ahead and share your screen, and I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you very much, Ellie. Good afternoon, everyone. Very happy to be here. I am just going to share my screen, and Ellie, if you can give me a thumbs up on it. So I'm going to start the slideshow. Can you see it in a slideshow format?
Yep, that looks great.
Perfect. Okay, so thank you for this opportunity. Happy to talk about sort of my career path, and hopefully it'll inspire you to pursue your own path and really carve it yourself as you go down your own expertise and leverage that down the road. So my name is Sonam. I'm the current program manager at the Sunnybrook Health Sciences Centre. My actual title is project manager. However, the job description and roles and responsibilities align more with the program manager. In terms of my degrees, I've had an undergrad from Guelph, and actually I'll just go to the next slide just to give you an overview of my career timeline. So I did my undergrad, as I said, in Guelph quite a long time ago. I don't like to admit that. But after my undergrad, I actually went into industry and I worked as a lab supervisor, chemist in a contract testing pharmaceutical lab. I did that for about 4 years. And then decided to go back to school and pursued a direct PhD at the University of Toronto, working primarily at Sunnybrook. And my thesis was focused on focus ultrasound, so looking at neuromodulation techniques, neurointerventional techniques for delivering therapeutics to the brain, specifically targeted for Alzheimer's disease. After my degree, after I wrapped up my PhD, I then actually pivoted to working in a clinical setting. And I worked at the ALS clinic here at Sunnybrook. It's the largest clinic of its kind in Canada. And funny enough, my first day of work was actually the first day of COVID. So I showed up to work and everything was shut down. So very interesting start of my job trajectory. I was in this role for about a year, and then I transitioned to the scientific manager role at Medicine by Design at the University of Toronto. And after spending 3 years there, and I learned a lot of different sets of skills than you would in an academic setting, I have now transitioned to my current role at Sunnybrook. Now, in order to explain what I do, I'm just going to give you an overview of the program that I'm part of here at Sunnybrook. And it's called the Azrieli Brain Medicine Fellowship Program. It's a training program for physicians. And the core vision of the program is to address the glaring gap in medical care for complex brain disorders. And the way we define that is these are disorders that have disordered affect, so that would be your mood, behavior in how you present yourself, and your cognition, so your memory. And most individuals who have at least two of those symptoms actually end up having worse functional outcomes than individuals who fall under very clear criteria of having disordered behavior or psychiatric dysfunction or cognitive dysfunction. What happens with these patients is they actually fall between specialties. We don't really know how to treat them in a more holistic way and address their multitude of symptoms that they are presenting with. So they end up in this siloed referral pathway where they're going from one specialist to the next, whether it be a neurologist, going to a psychiatrist, going to a physiatrist, and nobody is really looking at them holistically. Brain medicine model suggests, and it hinges on this idea that the brain is one organ, and we have to address it as one organ. And so instead of having all these different specialties looking at the brain in silos, the brain medicine model hopes to address this fragmentation where patients can present with their symptoms, whether it be behavioral issues, cognitive issues. They go to their primary care physician, they get referred to brain medicine clinic, and then undergo a comprehensive evaluation with a multitude of specialists in that clinic that can then develop a treatment plan for them. So in order to implement this idea and to really establish the expertise around this and the education around this, the brain medicine vision is to introduce interdisciplinarity in clinics where we have brain related specialties like neurologists, psychiatrists, neuropsychologists, physiatrists, all sitting in the same room, looking at the patient's case and collectively coming up with a comprehensive care plan. Now, part of the model is to have a clinic where we can see patients, but we also want to be able to train the next generation of physicians who will be able to use these competencies and these skills in their own practice once they are transitioned out of their education. And that's where the Azrieli Brain Medicine Fellowship Program comes in, where we take in physicians like from neurology, psychiatry, physiatry, neurosurgery, pediatrics, geriatrics, all brain-related disciplines into our program, and then we train them to be the brain medicine specialists. And the way we are assessing the program, because it is a novel idea, it's a disruptive idea, is we have four separate arms of the program that are running at the same time. So we have the educational element where we look at competencies of the fellows who are being trained. We have a research side where we're actually evaluating the impact of the program. We, of course, have the clinical care, which is our brain medicine clinic at Sunnybrook, where we're actually, again, evaluating how well we're doing for our patients. And then in order to spread and disseminate this model, there is an important KT element to this program as well. So those are the four pillars. And the end goal is to be able to bring in all of these brain-related specialties into the fellowship programs model, train them, provide them those competencies, and create a brain medicine specialist. So hopefully that kind of gives you a sense of what the fellowship program is. And so within the program, my role as the project manager, program manager, is to sort of oversee all of those arms. But in terms of the actual role itself, in terms of background, you would probably need some sort of like an academic degree, a master's with 5 to 10 years of program management experience, budget management, and some sort of leadership experience. The salary range is usually around 90 to 120K, and then, it's a Sunnybrook role, so there's benefits included in that. On top of that, apologies. Oops, sorry. What I do in a sentence, it's hard to say, but I have tried to summarize it. So I essentially am managing multiple project life cycles that are ongoing in the program, and also measuring the programmatic impact for scalability and sustainability of the program. In terms of skills, I think project management is very important. Being able to set priorities, having a little bit of research or clinical experience is helpful because you are managing the research and clinical arm. And then, of course, people management. Other careers I've considered everything under the sun, it seems, but medical school, I thought about going into academia. I've thought about going into pharma. So, if you are in that boat, all of us, I think, have been there who have had a life sciences degree. In terms of activities, typically I am managing and supporting our staff. So we have a staff of about 13 people under the administrative, research, and clinical arms. And so supporting them in terms of the projects they're working on, the priority setting, all of that. I also support other projects that are under my purview under the various arms of the program. Also support some of the grant submissions, annual reporting, as it is a philanthropically funded program. I also am always looking for opportunities for collaboration to establish ourselves as experts in the brain medicine area, and it's always with a business development mindset. I also support on strategic discussions for program expansion, whether it be at the academic institutions, both nationally and internationally. And I also support the management of the budget, which actually falls between two institutions, U of T and Sunnybrook. And ultimately, my ongoing goal is always that there's no deadlines missed, which is sometimes not easy to do. So in terms of why my role is important, I think my main contribution, I think, to this team is to really be able to bring sort of the expertise around managing various priorities that will enhance and ensure the program's impact. Not only that we're measuring it and is that it's being proven in terms of what we are pitching this program to be actually doing. And a big part of my role is also to ensure the team is supported and that they're feeling empowered to deliver on their objectives and milestones. So that's a big part of my role. Why I enjoy my role is I work with a highly skilled, highly competent set of people. I mean, it's primarily all physicians and really wonderful people who really care about their patients and the kind of care they're delivering. And so that's very inspiring and it's also very meaningful. Challenges associated, I think I would say not having the medical expertise sometimes is a challenge, but it's also an opportunity to learn. And in terms of future trajectory, if I were to stay at Sunnybrook, it would be, if you go through sort of the pathway of promotion, so to speak, it would be the patient care manager, sort of the next role, and then the operations director. For career planning advice, I think specifically if this type of role is of interest to you, I think having strong project management and organizational skills is important. And it doesn't have to be that you have to take project management certificate or all of that. I think a big part of training in academia, whether you're doing a PhD or master's, is managing your projects. And so really capitalizing on that and making sure that you're doing a good job and are able to translate that in terms of a deliverable is important. Um, Definitely having experience in healthcare research settings is a benefit for this role. Um, Also thinking about how to strengthen data collection and metrics around performance and impact would be important. Strong communication skills, and also ensuring that you're collaborating wherever you are in whatever walk of life, you're collaborating, you're building relationships. And I mean, I think everybody probably says this, but networking is the key to get to your next role. And not with the mindset of um, that being the ultimate goal for networking, but really caring about what people do and taking an interest there and finding those mentors would be very helpful. So that is all I have. I don't know if I sped through it or if I'm on time, but I will
You
stop.
are right on time.
Okay, perfect.
Uh, Thank you so much, Sonam, for a great talk. As a reminder, we'll be taking questions for both talks after our next speaker. So I see there's already at least one question in the Q&A, which is really helpful. As you think of your questions, feel free to just put them in there, and then we'll address them after Ben's talk. And so thank you again, Sonam. And I'd like to introduce Ben. Our second speaker is Dr. Ben Wang. Ben has a PhD in immunology from the University of Toronto and is the head of the Center for Integrative Immune Analysis at the Princess Margaret Cancer Centre. Ben collaborates with academic investigators and industry partners to integrate advanced immunological assays into clinical and translational studies. So, Ben, please go ahead and share your screen and I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, great. Yeah, again, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for the introduction, Ellie. Yeah, I'm Ben Wang. I am the head of the Center for Integrative Immune Analysis here at the Princess Margaret. And yeah, it would really fun to kind of share my career journey and about my position. And so again, yeah, head of the Center for Integrative Immune Analysis. This is a staff scientist position here at the Princess Margaret, but as I'll describe in my kind of career timeline, I've had many other roles under this position. Again, we're part of the Princess Margaret, which is part of the University Health Network. And yeah, my degree's fairly streamlined at University of Toronto, did my bachelor's there and my PhD. And as you can see with my career timeline, very streamlined in terms of doing my bachelor's in immunology here at U of T, and then doing my PhD as soon as I completed my bachelor's. I joined UHN a month or so after my defense. I joined initially as a scientific associate as head of the immune profiling team. At this point, for a year, I was given the opportunity to work on clinical trials and kind of really grow into the role. And after a year, this was a contract position. I was able to have discussions with our director and kind of really plan ahead and build something bigger out of this position. And so after a year as a scientific associate, I transitioned to a manager position. This allowed me to gain some experience in managing direct reports. And so some of the technicians and research associates that I was supervising as a scientific associate became my direct reports. And over the last 6, 7 years, we've grown this team from 4 people to around 19 direct reports and many more that I supervise. And so currently I'm a staff scientist with 19 direct reports, and the team is around 25 people. And as head of the Center for Integrative Immune Analysis, we really provide a platform at UHN for internal investigators across all disease settings that are interested in integrating immune research into their studies. This involves clinical trials, translational studies, and so on. And we really help with every step of the process. So as part of my role, I help with protocol design as well as execution of different parts of the trial, such as specimen collection and processing through to carrying out different immune assays, data analysis, and contributing manuscripts and everything. In terms of typical background, so I'll describe kind of what's needed for a staff scientist role is a PhD in life sciences with related experience. So this would include experience managing projects independently. It does help to be able to manage budgets and understand kind of the fiscal responsibility of this type of program management. And postdoc experience is valued in publications during your postdoc. As a staff scientist, the potential salary range is from 100 to 130K per year. And as you move up the level of staff scientist based on experience, this range increases. As a scientific associate, which is typical for more entry-level positions, the salary range can be around 80 to 100K. As a project manager, probably looking at around 80 to 120K per year. And of course, includes benefits and all that. What I do in a sentence, I lead the design and integration of comprehensive immune profiling assays into translational and clinical studies. And I'll try to describe the role as best I can in the next few slides. In terms of key skills, scientific and technical expertise are a must. In this type of role, you're kind of the point person for all of your clients and collaborators in terms of discussing kind of the best protocols to use, the best panels to use, the data analysis and results and interpretation of those data as well. Program management is very important, being able to, again, understand budgets, resources, and thinking more along the lines of the risks associated with setting up a new protocol, implementing a new workflow, et cetera. Client and service management is very important, being able to communicate with clients from different stakeholders, from different backgrounds, clinicians, basic scientists, industry teams, and being able to manage expectations based on what you can deliver and kind of as you're planning the project, what's kind of reasonable endpoints for your team. Leadership and mentorship are important. So any experience supervising junior staff is a plus. Being able to, again, communicate with staff members at different stages of their career as well, helping provide some guidance and career development within their roles is very important to kind of establishing a team that works very well together. In terms of other careers, I had considered doing a postdoc. So I actually never did a postdoc. I started this position right after my PhD, but I did consider a postdoc and going the academia routes, and otherwise I considered other industry scientist positions. Typical activities involve overseeing various teams within our program involved in specimen processing, flow cytometry, cytoph, immunohistochemistry, data analysis, bioinformatics. So a lot of different groups, different PhD, master's level folks who help with data analysis, some more entry level or early career technicians helping with kind of running these assays. Oversee assay development. So anytime we roll out a new panel for any of these different immune protocols and help develop those panels, we implement new workflows and of course, in running a lab, also making sure to implement different quality improvement process. So we're always, meeting standards for good clinical practice and so on. Strategic planning is very important, kind of as we grow the team over the years, adding new technologies, reviewing different technologies. Like for instance, when we started doing spectral flow cytometry, new multiplex kind of IHC protocols, panels, new markers that other people are publishing. So always got to stay on top of publications. And planning around resources, people power to kind of carry out everything that you're trying to establish, hiring, budgeting, a little bit of everything, reviewing project budgets, agreements, and so on. Also facilitate a lot of meetings and presentations with clients and collaborators. So always kind of, again, managing expectations, presenting things in a clear and concise way that is digestible for people with maybe a background that's not in immunology. And then, of course, ensuring timely delivery of milestones. I also do a lot of one-on-one meetings with staff, regular team meetings, and assist with day-to-day problem solving. And then a really fun part is reviewing data analysis results, kind of contributing to manuscripts, abstracts, and also helping with grant applications. In terms of highlights, so yeah, why I think my role is important. By integrating these immune profiling assays into translational clinical studies, and also, of course, generating high quality data, I think we help drive immunology research and biomarker discovery in the development of new therapeutic strategies, kind of really bridging this kind of lab discovery and patient impact. We work very closely with the clinical investigators on designing future trials based on data that we've generated. Why I really enjoy my role. I enjoy working with collaborators and being part of some different projects, constantly learning about different disease settings and treatments and outcomes, and really continuing to like read papers and be up to date on all the new discoveries. I really enjoy leading a large research team, mentoring staff at all different levels, scientific associates, research associates, technicians. And I really value the support from our executive committee to implement new ideas and basically shape the team according to my vision, which has been a very fun part of this role. Some challenges is definitely integrating multi-omic data. So when we have so many data sets from different modalities, kind of integrating everything into a message or a set of results that's digestible for collaborators. Kind of really communicating complex findings can be a challenge, and decision fatigue, which is kind of as a manager and as a point person for a lot of decisions, it can become quite a challenge to make so many decisions throughout the course of a day or a week, and it's got to make sure to kind of check in with yourself and stay sharp throughout. So, in terms of future trajectories, I think, within UHN, this is kind of, there's not really any more roles to be promoted to per se, but certainly can evolve into maybe more translational research roles within UHN, to be a part of more, to maybe take on advisory roles within a broader research networks, either academic, internally, externally, or with different industry partners. So for instance, such as like a Partners of Choice network, and so on. And then lastly, I think these are pretty common kind of career advice points, but definitely if you have the opportunity to develop project management skills, seek those opportunities to lead projects and be involved in projects that involve multiple teams. And in addition to planning your experiments, also consider resources, timelines, and kind of risks involved of different parts of that project. Networking, again, a huge thing. Engage with scientific communities, internal with your department, or externally. I think beyond going to just basic science talks, when you're at conferences, really, talk to vendors, talk to other researchers, and grow your network that way. Some relevant certifications, again, these are not required, but they are potentially helpful for kind of more of a project management role in clinical space, is the project management professional certification, and also good clinical practice. It helps you kind of understand the regulatory aspect of a lot of the work you'll be involved with. And yeah, those are my slides.
Great. Thank you so much for that fantastic talk. And before we move into the Q&A section, I'd like to thank both Sonam and Ben for fantastic talks on behalf of Stem Cell Network and Medicine by Design.